Hey Kate, my name is Chris and I think I've got something to add to this conversation of piracy of creative content. While what I say is going to be specifically addressed to your tangent of this conversation, I've also seen Dan's video, so I'm aware of what he said, so if somehow he manages to watch this response, then his voice is heard. Anyway, here we go.
While Dan held strong to his belief that all creative content should be made inherently free, you held to the belief that the theft of this creative content without taking into account the ethical and commercial structures would be wrong on a very basic level. And let me say, I agree with both of you. On one hand, I think Dan is right. Given our modernized culture, with the information traveling freely and essentially uncontrolled and unregulated throughout cyberspace, our views toward the spread of this creative content must inherently change to grasp our new world. But you are right as well. Stealing is still stealing, and it does hurt the creator in different ways. However, while your points are valid, you neglect to address the nature of the ethical and commercial concerns at their source, which eventually boils down to the ownership of intellectual property by a creator, as well as the place of this ownership in the public realm. To address ethical concerns, yes, a person's intellectual property is their property. However, I cannot agree that stealing content means we are robbing the creator. If we are accepting their creative content, legally or illegally, we are doing so for a reason. I doubt many people download music without the intention to listen to it. That appreciation after the fact is the patronage to their work. Maybe it's not the legal intended appreciation, but there is respect given from the consumer to the creator nevertheless. For example, if someone pirated a YouTube video from a creator, you're right in that the creator would lose views and public attention. But this thief may potentially become a full-time subscriber. They still went out of their way to consume the content that someone has created. And their watching it should gratify the creator. Ethics aside, they are conscious and aware of the creator and enjoying their material. If that was the fundamental intent of the creation, then the creator has achieved a success, albeit a non-traditional fashion. But moving on to commercial issues, again, we are faced with the idea of ownership. I'm a novelist, and I know you are too, so for the sake of our discussion, we'll focus on this as our idea of content. As a novelist who I assume intends to be published one day, I also assume that you know the basic functions of publishing. How it works, what its purpose is, and how it achieves those purposes. On the flip side of the coin, I also assume that you understand the inherent injustice publishers perpetuate upon their authors. While publishers open up an author to a huge audience sharing their content with distributors, it is also inherently bleeding money out of the author's success for personal gain. Authors don't make nearly as much money as publishers in terms of earnings. If we're speaking on the topic of stealing, in my opinion, publishers are stealing that money away from the rightful owner, the creator. This same trend is endemic with publishing industries, including video games and the music industry. But as said, we're sticking to novels for now. If novelists are the holders of the intellectual property, why do they not get their fair share of the earnings? I mean, that's why people are buying their books, right? They're not buying a novelist's books because of the publishing firm, I hope. This goes to the idea of copyright law, the label of intellectual property for all contemporary artists. And this is the problem that I believe Dan was primarily addressing. You say that creators lose money and jobs when creative content is stolen, and I would say that this statement is somewhat weighted on our current idea of copyright laws, which is a fairly new concept. Copyright laws were originally invented to protect the creator, but are now in place only to benefit the publisher of the content. I could rant all day about copyright, but another YouTuber addresses the issue perfectly. So for more information on copyright, click the link to his video on the end screen or in the downstairs bar. Suffice it to say, copyright law does not benefit the author. It restricts their creativity as much as it protects it. Through copyright, no derivative works may be made. I think you're also in a singularly unique position to discuss this issue. I mean, how awesome would it be to have your readers of your future novel write fan fiction of your work because they were so enthralled by what you created? Alas, they will never be able to do so, because copyright restrictions make this fundamentally illegal. Any Harry Potter fanfiction we read nowadays is inherently going against the grain of copyright restrictions. And if these publishing firms wanted to, they could technically sue these amateur writers for improperly using copyrighted material. This is creativity being stifled, not by publishing firms dropping authors, but laws crushing consumers of art. The publishing houses, the record labels, they've always served a purpose, but not in the creative realm, merely in the business realm. But I don't think that these businesses losing money due to piracy will cease artistic creation as you allude to. In fact, I doubt anything can stop a determined artist, musician, or novelist from creating their content. Look at independent rockers. Their money is not made from music sales, but instead from tours and t-shirt earnings. It's tough, but they do it for the love of the art, not the dollar bills. Well, maybe a little, but I'm sure you get my meaning. What truly needs to change are the paradigms of our society. We need to rethink copyright law, because while it does protect intellectual property, it also stifles the ability to share that content with the average person. In short, copyright isn't working anymore. So, what are the alternatives? Well, for one, there's rethinking the idea of content distribution. Why must we always seek a publisher to publish a novel? There must be ways to do this independently. Musicians have discovered this long ago. Artists like Alex Goot, Charlie, Radiohead have all taken their unique route to achieve independent musical success without the help of large publishers. And for some, like the Odd Future Collective, refusing to sign with a major label has been a sign of open dissent against professional recording labels and their unhealthy restrictions on creativity. Another concept is the use of Creative Commons licenses, which I would reckon a healthy audience is aware of these days. Creative Commons licenses allow for the same protection as copyright, while also allowing limited liberation of the content under select circumstances negotiated by the author. Even John Green used this when publishing Zombiecorns, and Hank uses this for DFTBA Records, as all their musicians' songs are Creative Commons friendly. Finally, there's the idea of copyleft, which is the opposite of copyright, offering complete and total liberation of all rights. A bit of anarchy, yes, but look at the creative achievements made with open source code with different websites across the internet, and all the cool freeware you can download if you just know where to look for it. I could ramble on, but I think I hit enough topics to expand the conversation. While I do agree with you, stealing is wrong, I believe we're moving into an age where content is so liberated, the idea of completely hoarding the rights and privileges to content is going to be impossible. As soon as it reaches the public sphere, I believe content is inherently open to the public. For further example, go see all the awesome randomness clogging up millions of Tumblr's users' dashboards. Hopefully you found my reply insightful. See you later.
It's okay to not like things, it's okay, but don't be a dick about it. It's okay to not like things, don't be a dick about the things you don't like.
It's okay to not like things, it's okay, but don't be a dick about it. It's okay to not like things.